Alright, Alvarado here. We're doing another one of my aesthetic firearm videos today. And here we go, guys. Alright. This is an MP40. Many of you probably will recognize this. This is actually a dummy gun. It does not function. I wish it did, but of course that would be illegal. But this gun does not function. The receiver is made of like some sort of, I don't know, plastic or aluminum, and there's no bolt. The bolt is welded to the receiver, and the bolt itself, actually, and I've not taken it apart, appears to be made of wood. So the gun does not function. Okay, it is not a working machine gun. It is, though, the lower is an original, and this is a BNZ 42. So this was made, the lower, at least the original part of the gun here is the lower. The sling, of course, is original. The magazine is original. The barrel is an original. It's filled up with lead or some metal in here. It's been like welded shut, the actual barrel. You can see it if you look in here. This is another one of those guns, and I bought this because of the history behind it. I know it's not a working firearm, and I know you can buy reproduction MP40s that actually fire 9mm. By, I think the company is, I think it's ATI in Germany. But it's not the same to me. And the reason it's not the same to me is because, again, this has history. I would assume that this gun was probably a GI bringback, and you know, somebody decided, well, you know, I'm not going to turn it into a real machine gun. I'm going to deactivate it. It's not a deactivated gun per se. It's just a dummy because it doesn't have anything functioning here. You can't even pull this. It's just welded on here, and it's not even connected to the so-called bolt. It's just fake. The bolt is fake too. I used a magnet to check everything. Magnet does not stick to the supposed bolt. But, you know, it's got all the markings. You know, you can look at it and you can see all these, sorry about my camera again, I'm not a professional. This is a hobby more like than anything else. But, you know, you've got all these cool markings on it. It's probably not easy to see anything right now. You know, there's markings all over the gun. Here's the BNZ 42. Let me see if I can focus it. It's difficult with this crappy camera, but I promise you it does indeed say BNZ 42. So it's matching numbers on the lower, okay, and the barrel section and the chamber here. Of course, the chamber, you can see that this is fake as heck. Again, this looks like it's made of wood. Somebody glued this piece to it right here to kind of give it this authentic look. You know, but it's a really cool piece of history. I mean, you cannot find one of these things just floating around anywhere, you know. To me, the idea that this gun has floated through time and space again for, well, let's see, 1942. So, my goodness, you know, this gun's been floating around a long time, you know. And it has that smell of an old firearm, you know. The magazine is all original. It is a KUR 43, and it is marked as well. Of course, with my shitty camera, you're going to have a hard time seeing any of that, but it is there, I promise. And you can maybe make it out right there. So I have two magazines for this, actually, too. I picked up a magazine before I bought this gun, or this dummy. I bought another magazine, same thing. It's a KUR 43. So the magazines are original, really cool. And the gun itself, I mean, if you see it, you know, if somebody sees this, you know, they're going to go, oh my God, it's real, you know, but it's not real. But it sure does look cool. I mean, it is a nice looking thing to hang on your wall, you know, and I've always been interested in these types of firearms too. This is another dream gun for me, right up there with the Colt Single Action Army, you know, or the Walther P38. Or many other dream guns that I've always wanted to own in my life. And so this is a relatively recent purchase. I'm not going to tell you how much I paid, but it is definitely something that is unique. That, you know, you just don't see something like this. And again, I mean, if I ever wanted to sell it, I guess I could take it apart and sell the lower. The folding stock does work if you're interested in that kind of thing. Very easy. There you go, ready to go. If I was going to fire this gun, I would definitely want to use the stock. It's more comfortable, in my opinion, with the stock than with the stock folded. Has the sights, original sights up there. Okay, pretty cool. And again, it's just this really unique thing to have. And I have a collection of Third Reich military decorations and things like that too. And so this kind of goes with that. I even have a Waffen SS uniform that I put together based on a story I created for this soldier that would have worn that uniform. So this kind of all goes with that. And I thought I'd share this with everybody because, again, this is just a unique weapon. Again, this channel, I'm not doing anything shooting. This doesn't shoot anyway. It looks like it would shoot with a barrel, but it doesn't. It doesn't do a thing. It's just really a really fancy adornment, I guess you'd say. It's just something I wanted to have in my firearm collection because I've always liked these weapons. I've always thought these were like the coolest looking submachine guns on the planet. Just really cool looking. These were a huge advance in technology. Everything's made out of stamped steel instead of being milled. I think the MP38 was actually milled, but the MP40 was made for mass production. Had a rate of fire of about 550 rounds per minute. It's 9mm, of course, 32 round magazine. It's a pretty heavy gun. It probably weighs about 10 pounds, I guess. I mean, this would have probably been a really fun gun to shoot. If you want to see somebody shooting it, you can go check out like Hickok 45. He has a really good video of the MP40, and of course he loves to blast this thing. So if you want to watch something like that, that would be where to go. I'd go to Hickok 45. I've subscribed to him for years, and I've always enjoyed his videos. So anyway, so this is just kind of another cool weapon. Again, something that's traveled through space and time, somehow managed to survive all these years. And even though it's been, altered so it doesn't function, it's just still a piece of history. It's the kind of thing, again, you'd see this in a museum. And I know that the lower, is worth a lot of money. And I could separate the gun into pieces and probably sell it. Of course, this fake receiver, it would be junk, essentially. But I don't think I'll do that, just because this allows the firearm to be at least in one piece, rather than being, in chunks. So again, just a really cool gun. They made a bunch of these too. I think the Germans made like 2 million of these firearms. I could be wrong about that. It could be less. I don't remember, but like 1 million of them maybe. So they're all over. They've been all over the world. I've seen that they were used even in Vietnam by the communists there. These guns floated around. I'm sure the Russians captured a ton of these too. And again, I don't know the history of this. Of course, that soldiers in World War II were allowed to bring back machine guns or whatever they picked up, war trophies. You probably heard the term DWAT, which is deactivated war trophy, and that was because of the '68 law. I'm sure this gun was a victim of that. So somebody was like, well, man, I really want to keep it. I don't want to have to register it. I'm not going to shoot it, but it's still a cool thing to have as far as historical. And somehow it traveled all these years, 70 years, I guess? 70 years, this thing's been floating through time and space. And eventually wound up in my gun collection. So again, just something really cool. Now, if you're wondering how did I get into that gun, well, guess what? There's a few good books if you're into those types of firearms. Again, you probably have seen this. You're getting sick of seeing this one. Guns and How They Work. Again, and I talked about that in one, I think in both my other videos that I've done on firearms so far. This book was given to me by my mother. And again, if you open this book up, it goes through the entire history of firearms from the very beginning, and this is one of the guns that's featured in there with this nice schematic of how, the firearm. And so this was another book again, but this is the same book got me interested in the MP40 as well. If you are interested in MP40s in specifics, I highly recommend this too. This is a really good book too, with breakdown of the whole history of the MP40, everything you can imagine. And I should know how many were made, but I just don't remember off the top of my head right now. But very cool. And this book has stories of captured firearms that were brought back. It breaks down everything, from accessories to you name it. So the entire history of the gun here. He also goes into gun laws in the United States regarding machine guns. Um, you know, just you name it. Talks about the ones that were done with what they call tube receivers. You know, in order to create a machine gun before, again, 86. If you know your gun laws, you know what I'm talking about. 68 was a big one. That was when those types of weapons, if you had if you had brought one back, it had to be registered with the government, right? Or they could be dewadded. And even DWATs were supposed to be registered because a lot of the DWATs could have been reconverted back to machine guns later, because a lot of the dewadding that was done was not very much. You know, they might like throw lead in the barrel or whatever, and that was it. You know, and if you have a gun like that, that's not legal. You know, so this gun has been deactivated completely. It has a wooden bolt. It has a fake receiver. It has lead poured or some metal poured into the chamber. It doesn't have an ejector because there's no bolt either. So the gun is like totally useless. You know, you'd have to get a receiver and a bolt and all that stuff. You know, so the gun is just really, again, just a decoration. Anyway, this is a good book to learn. This guy's written a lot of books about guns. So anyways, this is another book I'd recommend. And if you're really just into machine guns in general or small arms, actually small arms. I have a book on just German machine guns, but this is not a machine gun, this is a submachine gun. But this book, Small Arms of the World. This is a cool book too. And of course they have a big section on the MP40 in here. And here you can see some of that. They made a lot, like I said, and there's a lot of information about the gun out there. There's a nice schematic of the gun. You can see here all these nice, beautiful drawings of the machine gun, of the submachine gun, the MP40 here. How to disassemble it. You know, look at that schematic, man. It's a parts breakdown, all the parts. Goes into the history of it again here. The MP38, like I mentioned, you know, that was milled. Okay, right here, yeah. Over 1 million MP40s were made from 1940 to 1944. That one was made by Steyr, if I remember correctly. BNZ42. That's the year it was made, 42, and BNZ was the manufacturer. They had codes for the different manufacturers. So that's a Steyr, right? Anyway, but there it is. And they show here the MP41, which was had a wooden stock. Basically the same gun, just with a wooden stock. Here's the MP40, and here's the MP38 here. So this is another really excellent book if you're into guns at all. I really like this book because it's just got anything you can think of, practically any small arm you can think of. Like I said, I have another book on just German machine guns, but those are the heavy machine guns, like the MG34, MG42, MG15, you know, all the Maxims from, you know, World War I, things like that. Cool book, really cool book. I think books are essential if you're into firearms to learn. You know, I know everybody nowadays, YouTube and the internet and things like that, but I'm still from the generation of books. And so anyway, I hope everybody enjoyed that. Again, one last look at this beautiful thing, this weird weapon of war that's been floating around forever. Just a gorgeous piece here, a beautiful thing. See the fake ass receiver and the fake ass bolt. And you notice the S is wrong. The S should be facing the shooter, and not like that. And of course, you can see the bolt is completely fake. Look at that. That doesn't even move. That's just welded on to the. It's welded on to the frame of the so-called receiver, which again, it doesn't. It's not even metal. I don't know what it is. It feels like it's some sort of acrylic plastic or something, or some like PVC pipe or something. You know, it wouldn't be something you could ever turn into a real gun because it's not real. It doesn't even you know, affect a magnet won't even stick to it. I did the whole magnet thing with the whole firearm and quickly realized that what I had gotten was a gun that has a completely fake receiver. You know, I was under an impression when I bought the gun that it would be a little bit different, like it would have a bolt, but the bolt would have been welded, you know, shut or bolt, you know, welded to the receiver or whatever. But instead, this gun is completely bogus. Do I regret purchasing this? No, because again, this is something that I wanted, and it's for my collection. And you know, maybe someday if I don't want it anymore, I'll sell it or whatever, and you know, or like the other guns, you know, like I really don't think I'll be getting rid of it. It's just something to pass on to my kid or whatever, and he can do whatever he wants with it someday. So anyway, there it is, guys. The German MP40, probably one of the most famous submachine guns, and probably one of the most well-known machine guns, submachine guns in the world. You know, you see them in the movies all the time, and you know, the Germans are always running around with these things, blah blah. So anyway, so there you go, guys. I hope everybody enjoyed that. And again, these are Firearms of history, aesthetic beauties. So, anyway, have a wonderful day. Everybody enjoy. And not many people have commented, but if you want to comment or ask me to talk about another gun or look at another gun, just let me know. I may have it. You never know. All right, guys, all of you have a beautiful evening, a beautiful day, etc., wherever you are, whatever time it is you're looking at this. All right, Alvarado out.